Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress, live Wednesday night podcast. We thank you all for joining us tonight, and do we have an amazing guest for you tonight? We have Kazim Yarn from Veterans Affairs Office in the state of Rhode Island. Welcome, Kazim, and thank you for doing our show tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to hear all about what you have been up to lately, out and doing your job. So first, let's tell everybody who may not know you, which I very find that hard to believe that anybody in this state does not know you, but tell everybody who you are and what you do and what you, where you work.
Thank you. My name is Kazim Yarn. I'm the Director of Veteran Services for the state of Rhode Island. What does that mean? Simply means my job is to care for the 61,000 veterans that call Rhode Island their home, to include their families.
That is amazing. Tell us what some of your job description entails. Like, what are some of the specific services that you do for our veterans? I know you do so much, but just give us some idea.
Well, thank you. My job is to oversee the Veterans Home in Bristol, Rhode Island. I also oversee the Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Exeter as well. Since under the Raimondo administration, the Resource Center was created, centrally located in Warwick, Rhode Island. Our Resource Center is there to help our veterans and military families navigate the waters transitioning back from active duty to civilian life. Also, too, because of our veteran population, we have over 70% of our veteran population are over age 55. And so that means that we have to also be attuned to listening to the family members of those veterans as well. So we'll also be a service provider for them and to connect them with services also for mom on behalf of mom and dad as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Like I said, I know you do so much because you can never catch you, or I'm out and about and I run into you pretty much everywhere. But tell us a little bit about the Veteran Services now has a women's veteran coordinator working directly with the Providence VA Medical Center for women's veterans. Can you tell me the importance of that and why that's such a great thing that we have right now?
Oh, absolutely. And back in 2020, I hired Jennifer Caruso, an Army veteran, to serve as our first woman chief of Veteran Services. Jennifer's role is to increase their awareness, to identify the obstacles that our women veterans face, our women warriors face, but also to the ability to connect them with service providers. As a director, I am a firm believer that, our team needs to represent the folks that we serve. And, we've seen an increase in our women population returning back to civilian life. Back in 2019, we had an increase from 4%. As of today, we have 22%, 22 veterans. So let's go from 4% to 22% an increase in our women veteran population. Then we need to have the staff ready to go to support them in their needs as well. So I'm so pleased that we've made that commitment to our women warriors, and we are there every step of the way with them. And to your point about serving our population, which is a diverse population as well, from our early era veterans, from our World War II, Korean War veterans, Vietnam veterans, first Gulf War veteran, post 9/11 veterans, and all of that, so diverse group. And with that group, women have taken a prominent role in the shaping of America. And so as a result of that, even more so, why it's even more important that we have Jennifer leading us on these efforts to make sure that our women warriors are taken care of as well.
It's so important to have representation. I mean, you know as well as I do that representation and having somebody that looks like you or feels like you or served like you is so important to have that person to connect with. What is the male population? If the women went up from 4 to 22, do you have any idea what the male population is in Rhode Island, or the veteran population we have in Rhode Island?
Right. So the male population is roughly, I want to say 75 to 80% of our population are males. And so we got to make sure that our team caters to all of our veterans' needs based on the diversity. And we have a great team at our resource center to connect them with services, but also to showcase our iSurge platform. This puts all of our providers in a network together to connect our veterans and military families with the various service providers, anywhere from healthcare to employment to education. We have a footprint throughout across the entire state, and that's important that we have a place that any veteran or family have an issue of concern, they know who to talk to, and more importantly, how we connect that veteran and military families with the service providers.
That is amazing. I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit here, only because I'm curious. So I wouldn't hold you to it if you don't know the number. But what is the percentage you think of the veterans that are coming back, men or women, that have a disability? Like what does that take up of the population of somebody who might be in a wheelchair or have some sort of disability?
Right. So that's that roughly that number's around 36% was the last data note that we were able to pull down. But I look at it in terms of you, and you're inspiration to all of us, because having a disability is not a death sentence. It's not an end of life situation too. But more importantly, provide services that we would connect our veterans, military families, those living with disabilities, working together to ensure that they have access as well as equally as well as those that without disabilities. And again, as a director, my job is to put my arms around all of our veterans, to young and old in that regard. But more importantly, I know that I'm not on this mission alone. I have so many providers, nonprofits, our federal agencies, partner with other such agencies across the state, and also at the municipality level as well. 39 municipalities, I love all 39, but all of them have a role to play to help for the betterment of the veteran and military families to enhance their experience.
It's so true, because we can't thank enough the veterans and the sacrifices and the commitment that they have made to all of us, that it's only right for us to be there and to give back. And I know as an organization, RAMP, we hold our veterans in high regards, because a lot of the population that we have are veterans and served in some way, or a family member of a veteran that served in some way. So it just makes it that much more special for us to serve them. What do you
Absolutely.
think the most... No, go ahead. Finish your sentence.
No, I was saying that to that point is why, if mom and dad, the veteran, is not coming to our office too, we also got to make sure that we're there for the family member as well, because they may not know what the requirements are. So we use our office to help that family member, to help mom and dad to get connected with a service provider, and to make sure that they're okay based on the needs or address of the veteran and the family as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I love everything you do. What do you think are some of the most important issues facing our veterans today?
Well, I think if I look at, I like to put this in terms of in the era to which they served. For example, our older population, the World War II, Korea War era veteran, well, our primary focus is healthcare and access to benefits, to connecting with service providers. And as you know, that the greatest generation, and they need access to healthcare more than ever too. Some of them are through their private sector, they've not enrolled in the VA healthcare system. Well, our job is to get them enrolled, to help them out as well. And again, this is the segment of our population that the family members are reaching out to us to help them with mom and dad. Then we got our Vietnam era veterans. And anytime I see a Vietnam veteran, I want to put my arms around and hug them and tell them we love them and welcome home, because we know when they served, they weren't given a warm greeting like we've learned today, that we've learned with our post 9/11 veteran population as well. So never again was a country turn a back on the era of veterans again like we did our Vietnam veterans. And so now our job too is make sure that they get enrolled in the healthcare system as well, identify that Agent Orange effects associated with that and the psychological effects associated around that, making sure that we're connecting those veterans with service providers also to address their needs as well. We got the first Gulf War group of veterans, a little bit older in that capacity relative to the 9/11 veteran group. But again, helping them assess as they transition, looking for means for a change of an employment perspective, but more importantly, connecting them with the education that they would need in order to help them find the job that they're looking for as well. That early generation I'm talking about are not as tech savvy as the younger generation of veteran population. So in the services that I got to provide, I got to make sure that it's really easy for them in order to utilize those access to those similar services. While the 9/11 veteran, I don't want to insult their intelligence also, because they are tech savvy. So I got to be able to use our tools collectively so they can enhance their capabilities to better their experience and their family's experience as well. Hence why our riserve.org platform is so important, but because it connects the veteran and military family with a service provider. And if you're able to do that, then my staff is standing by to connect you with those very service providers as well.
That's amazing. And not only the tech portion of, from the older veterans to the newer veterans, and the tech issue. Are there other differences that you've noticed of people who have served earlier on, or different issues that you're knowing that you need to accommodate now with the newer veterans? Has that changed
some
much?
of the data, well, some of the data, you serve, no matter if you serve 2 weeks or you serve 20 years, there are a certain amount of veteran they serve. They have the soft skills that everyone looking that's highly sought after in today's marketplace. The ability to show up on time, to ask the right question, to be an effective leader, in order to manage programs. Look no further than the veteran in the veteran experience. So my job is also to advocate for them on their behalf as well, and to engage with the employers. But I know I'm not on that journey by myself, because I got organizations like Department of Labor and Training, Department of Labor, right there every step of the way with me, helping me along that line to connect employers with employees, but more importantly, collect the veterans to make sure they have the right skills for the jobs that pay in that regard as well. And so, it's amazing, because when our veterans transition back home to life, they don't transition back home to just to operations, they transition back home to communities. And so it's about community engagement, being involved. So, and you said earlier how every time you go to a place you see me. Well, I turn the camera right back at you, because I also see you there as well, Tina. So you're carrying that mission also as well. So thank you again for your service also. But to your point, I think that the ability for as an organization to engage them when they first come back to Rhode Island through the Transition Assistance Program sponsored by our partners at Naval Station Newport. They've asked me to provide opening remarks to the monthly class that are coming in that are transitioning back home. We have roughly 25 to 50 staff veterans that are transitioning back on a monthly basis, thereabouts. And so the ability to engage with them when they first started that training is amazing, because I get to offer some advice, ways to connect with service providers, and also too, because not too long ago, I sat in the same seat to which they're sitting in now. And I understand some of the stress and the angst going along with that as well, because you're literally making a major transition, the next chapter along life's journey. And so I just say, and I use my office as a shoulder to lean on, to support, but also to ask the right questions of us, so we can do our due diligence and connect you with the right service provider, be it education, employment, housing, healthcare, legal services, all of those above, for that segment of our population too, to serve them better. Rather recently, we started a seasonal navigator, a vet corps initiative, to where we have a staff member that's on the campuses at URI, CCRI, and RIC, and augment our staff to connect that veteran and military families that are going to the campuses with the service providers to help them along their life journey, to ensure they get their degrees and they work here in Rhode Island and be a functioning member back in society. And that's a great opportunity that we started it last year. It's funded through the AmeriCorps program as a part of the Rhode Island Department of Education. And we've just got we just got up for next year as well. And so we're looking to expand a similar program throughout a couple other campuses in the state of Rhode Island as well.
That's so amazing. And I have been blessed to be contacted for a few veterans that came home and are newly disabled, and I was able to share my story and give them ways and hints and ideas of how to now function in their new role and how to navigate the world from their new role with resources. So I would love to broaden that, because that's such an enlightening thing. That's one of my favorite things to do. I mean, not that I want to see somebody newly disabled, but at least I can give them some encouragement and let them know, like you said, it's not a life sentence. We just have to learn to do it differently. And that's such a wonderful feeling to be able to give back.
Absolutely. And as a state, we need to stand together and make sure that we provide that support system by sharing our stories. Mental health is an amazing thing because getting help looks different to so many different people. But and this when we talk about the disability world, they have the mental issues associated with it as well. And if you're like can't cope with certain things, and it's extremely hard or potentially hard on the family members as well. So not only do we need to address the needs of the person with a disability, but we also need to support their support system. And their support system is, by and large, is the families.
Right. And I agree with you, because what people don't really understand is when somebody in your family becomes disabled, people don't know how to treat them. Like, I've lost so many family and friends members because they could not cope with my new way of life. To me, it's their loss because I found a way. You know what I mean? I found a way to give back, and I found a new family. But it's sad because people do go through that because they can't handle it. They just exercise or ostracize the person, and that's sad. With the increasing number of homelessness, there are a lot of veterans here in Rhode Island that are suffering with homelessness right now. And what can we do to help them?
So we have one veteran homeless is one veteran too many in that capacity. You have someone that served this blessed nation of ours, yet they're homeless. And so we continue to work through those obstacles to identify resources to help connect that veteran experience. We know that I'm not on this island by myself as an organization, because we rely heavily on our nonprofit organizations like Gateways to Independence, Veterans Inc., and of course everyone knows Operation Stand Down Rhode Island. Those group organizations at the grassroots level serving our veteran population too as well. And we need to make sure that we continue to put programs to address their needs and concerns as well. To work partner, like I said before, with the Department of Labor and Training to update their resumes, to get them access to those programs, all while making sure that they have access to healthcare through our Providence VA Medical Center, to ensure that we can get them enrolled as well. If they have to create any type of additional courseware, well, let's work with them too to get them enrolled, to get the right courses that they need to be successful in that regard as well.
Yeah, it's so true. Again, one homeless veteran is one homeless person, never mind just veteran, but the veteran just adds a whole nother level for everything that they did and sacrifice for us. It should not
Correct.
be. So I'm glad there's so many resources out there.
Absolutely. And to the governor's credit, he put allocation in his budget to point out how to have a housing person to address this issue. Also to put in programs that'll help us move the needle of growing this housing issue here in Rhode Island. So a compliment to the governor for making this priority in this year's budget as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Moving on to another topic. You have talked about stereotypes in society, particularly for men, making it difficult to talk about mental health or access services. How do you amplify this, and how do you make this easier for them to say what they need and get them what they need?
I think about any time as a leader, I got to take a look in the mirror myself, and in order to lead others. And if I'm not willing to show weakness, and that to take a knee, as General Callahan would say, to what good am I? And because I'm asking veterans and military families to trust me, to be a shoulder for them to lean on. If that's the case, then I got to be willing to do that myself as well. And I talk about not too long ago being a 300-pound, 6'5" African American male. We're not allowed to show weakness. But it's taboo, or you soft in that regard as well. And so my ability to address my needs, I threw it through this group here, through this public medium, to share my stories and be a little inspiration and hope for others. I look at Christmas time. Who other than who's willing to put on a bunny suit just to make a child laugh and smile around the holiday season? And if you see, there's nothing beats the smile of a child around the holiday season. No child should have to suffer during the holiday times. And by you easing their suffering, you're also making it easier for the family members as well. So I look forward to the opportunity. But to circle back on that, though, it gives me therapy as well to see others smile also as well. Because in order for us to move the needle, we have collectively got to do a better job of loving each other. And I know it's easy to say in a setting like this, it's hard to do, but we have to be able to start practicing what we're preaching. And I treat everyone with respect. I call everyone sir or ma'am in that regard. And I love everyone. I want to, be a support for all others to set that example as well.
One of my favorite things, and you're probably going to be shocked by me saying this, but one of my favorite things about you is you're a lot like me in the aspect where you know when to take a picture and you know when to leave it out of the spotlight. You know when to keep somebody's privacy private and to keep their situation private, and you know when to be able to promote it. You know that fine line. You know when it's appropriate and when it's not. A lot of people do not have that. That they think that they're going out and doing a good deed and they're taking a picture of a homeless line getting food. Like, that's not appropriate. But you always hold that fine line where you know when and when not to, like I said, make somebody smile. Because I'm saying, picture you in a hot pink bunny suit or a reindeer with a blinking nose is amazing. And you know what I mean? But I've seen you in the heart of hugging a veteran and being there for a veteran family and just talking to them off to the side, out of the spotlight, really truly helping them. That I appreciate you doing that, because that is so important in this day and age, is to know people can talk to somebody of your stature who's well known in Rhode Island and know that they can talk offline, off camera, and know that their privacy is going to be there.
Absolutely. And this is about doing the work, in order to build trust. That's something I got to earn every day of the week and can never take it for granted, especially being a steward for the taxpayer. And with that said, I'm asking folks to trust me. And so that's the right thing to do. That's the only way I know how to do it, because all of my training, everything I've done as a human being, as a man of the faith as well, and to believe in something bigger than me, being part of something bigger than oneself, and I serve with humility. And I recall when I was at church and I was a lector, and I was reading right when the governor had first made the appointment for me, and I was reading one of the scriptures in it, and they talked about leaders have to be humble, to serve with humility. And that has and I took it that the words directly to me reading them aloud, but I'm thinking to myself, someone is telling me something here, and that validated what I already had knew, the ability to serve with humility. And no, I don't have the capability of walking in someone else's shoes. I can walk beside you, walk with you, I can walk in front of you, but to walk in your shoes is a daunting task. And so who am I to judge what have you? But if you take the approach that you're going to treat everyone with respect and honor their privacy, I'm a better person by doing that. And if I can just give a little my job is to set the example for the next, to turn this machine over to the younger generation. And but we got to give them the tools in order to be successful. And it starts by little ones looking them in the mirror to be a better person, better human being in that regard. So thank you for the words.
I'll tell you,
it takes a village.
But I'll tell you, though, it absolutely shows, because, the world needs to hear more that good deeds happen, even if there's not a picture. Even if it's not out on social media, it does happen, because the only one it matters to is a person's life that you're changing, because you have no idea how much further that's going to go and how many lives that they're going to turn because you turned their lives. So I thank you for that. You are a big leader in the whole progress of It's Okay Not to Be Okay. Tell us about that and tell us why that means so much to you.
Well, about 3 years ago, Governor Raimondo had sent out an executive order tasking her cabinet to go across Rhode Island and just to do listening sessions, listen to the people, to listen to their stories, but also share our personal stories about how we've had struggles and what we've done to connect, to stay close together. And what that did, it brought us closer together as a state. And so last year, the year after that, prior to COVID, we launched the It's Okay Not to Be Okay campaign. And that we said, okay, as leaders, we all have some form of a struggle. But the only way we can get to is by acknowledging, taking that step, but more importantly, identifying resources across our state to where I can go into and get assistance. And also to be there to have something set aside for the family members as well, a place to where they can go to and get the support system as well. And that left a profound impact on me. And so going forward, I've added that to my portfolio. And any chance I get to talk about mental health, any chance I get to talk to the younger generation. I remember a couple years back, I had the pleasure of speaking before Bishop Hendricken, for the entire student body. And it was amazing because the power that an adult has in the education, the maturation process for a young adult is tremendous. And so if they see me, a willingness for me to get into tears, to show weakness, then that means it's okay for them as well. But more importantly, to be that shoulder for all of us to lean on when we need it in that capacity too. It means a lot in that regard. So I'm happy to be part of that mission. And it is, truly an honor. But I said before about serving with humility, but more importantly to be a brother into this, to help others, help them navigate some of the issues that they're facing too. It's a bad business that we have to get through this because it's not easy. And that's called life's journey. And but you can't get yourself too low. And they say you can't get yourself too low, you can't get yourself too high on life in that regard as well. But it's difficult for some, it's easy for others. And for those that have those difficulties, I'm there every step of the way. And I know I'm not on this journey alone because I look forward to you, Tina, for continue to bring these things to light and to help have folks on to ensure that we don't forget about what got us down this journey. About then COVID-19 hit, and it made us even more isolated from each other as well.
Yeah.
And there's some lessons learned that are coming out of that also that we need to focus to reconnect with each other. We talked about earlier in the early part of the podcast that tying the connection with the family members and the elderly population. They've been the greatest generation. Now they weren't able to act independently because now they were forced to just stay isolated from the rest of the world because of this virus. Well, now we've lost a lot as a result of that. So let's take some of those lessons learned and let's be better citizens for those with disabilities, by those that are elderly, those that are impoverished, those that lack education, and those that need access to health care, to be a better steward for them and to advocate for them on their behalf in order to assist them better.
It's so true because, I like to tell everybody that COVID was a positive thing as well. As many people don't want to see that. It gave everybody the insight of what the disability community deals with on a daily basis. You can't go out of your house. You are trapped. You can't be with your family. You can't hug your family. You can't go to this restaurant or that. We can never do that. So when the world opens back up, you didn't like being trapped in your own home. Take us with you. Know the importance now of why being accessible and being inclusive and knowing the mental health of everybody, because you just dealt with isolation. We deal with that on a daily basis. So you all got to see our world from the inside out, so I find it as a blessing because no one liked it. So now take us with you because we don't like living like that as well. I remember one big speech that I was at that you gave at CCRI about no stigma. And let me tell you, gave me a whole new insight to you. I mean, I already loved you before that, but that just gave me a whole new and saw a different side of you. It's so true to see you be so vulnerable and to put yourself out there like that. It makes others want to do the same. I got so much feedback on that from you, from others about you, that you truly make an impact in this world. What do you think are our next steps? Like, what if you had no limits, no money, no limits? What would you like to see the next steps that we're taking in the world?
I think continue with the community engagement discussion. To advocate for those and to be it's about getting the right people in the right room, to talk through things and we're going to have we have got to be able to engage in civil discourse. We can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings. So let's put forth things to work together to resolve some of these issues. We have the capability, we have the capacity. Our state flag has a word, hope. inscribed on it. And so that gives us promise for the day will be a better day. But I think collectively continue to identify the issues and through committees, what have you, focus groups, going out in the community. We have 39 municipalities. We need to engage in all 39 municipalities to address the issues in that regard as well, and work together to leverage municipality, state, and federal resources. As a result of that, we have, you were talking earlier about our congressional delegation. They are phenomenal leaders in our state to address the needs of all Rhode Islanders. We have the governor's office through a General Assembly working together to identify issues and to address those issues on behalf of the taxpayer. And that's really key to me. I think to have to continue the discussion and to form action. The discussion, we have all these communication we want, but we also got to take some action associated as well. So going from discussion to take action. But we got to take a systematic approach by that, because we know if everything's a priority, nothing becomes a priority. And so to identify what the issues are, and let's put together a timeline and benchmarks to address those concerns. Let's take a look back. What did we learn? What did we mislearn? What are effective practices coming out of the things? And that's really to show how we're moving the needle. Can we face an obstacle, dust ourselves off, and then learn from it? And then when we come across that barrier again, what can we do to remove those barriers, to assist others, and make it better for the next generation in that regard as well? Yes, we still got to do the work, but those barriers that are in place, we've got to start to working through removing some of those barriers. And it's going to take the collective effort to do that. But it starts about the ability to have civil discourse and to talk through things. We may disagree, but let's work together to identify what those disagreements are. Let's start to remove those barriers.
I agree with you. We are stronger together, and we all need to hear each other's perspective. Because no one knows. I don't know what you go through. You don't know what I go through. We all need to hear each other's perspectives. We may not agree with it. We may not, but we need to understand it, and we needed to see it from another person's point of view. Who cares who gets the credit for it, as long as it gets done? We need to stop trying to be the leader that gets all the fame and fortune. Who cares about that? As long as something gets made accessible, I don't care who does it. As long as I can get in, that's, I don't care who does it. That we need to work together. We need to see each other's perspectives, and we need to find a middle ground to start working outward. That's the only way we're going to change this world, together as a collective.
You may say you love me, Tina, but we love you more. So thank you so much for those remarks. That's
because they can't get rid of me.
Well, we don't want to get rid of you. So but to your point, that's really the foundation of where we need to go. It really and truly is. And but I think we're moving there. And because I'm more positive and negative. But when you live in a state that has the word hope on it, there is nothing we can't accomplish together.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I don't believe anybody is maliciously inaccessible or maliciously, really doing the wrong thing for the most part. I mean, you always have the bad eggs out there, but for the most part, it's because they don't know, or they don't live in that situation, or they don't have somebody from that situation. Like nobody thinks that they're ever going to become disabled. I know I didn't, but in 10 minutes, I woke up from a minor surgery using a wheelchair instead of walking for the rest of my life. Life can change that fast, that we need to know what's out there. We need to know how to prepare for it. Look at all of the veterans coming back, and the ones who are coming back disabled or with a mental issue. They never expected that. They never thought to need these services. But isn't it all right that these services are there, ready and waiting for them, and to help them in any way possible? That's the progress. That's being, looking to the future and making sure things are ready for the people who need it.
Absolutely. And those that they're not suffering from a disability, be an advocate for those that are. And that now, when you see that happening, that magic happens. Now, we're moving as a community, we're moving in the right direction. But it's going to take a lot of work. We're not taking any victory laps by any stretch, but knowing that we're better today than we were yesterday. And we appear to be turning the corner on this virus. We're able to get together to see each other face to face. And that's a good thing, and that's been so needed and so missed that we've learned that was so valuable in that regard. But through technology, we're able to stay connected, and now we have capabilities now of sharing the message through podcasts like this. That I may not be able to do it live, but I can at least listen to it at a time that's conducive for me to take some of it in, to connect this. You
Right.
know, Katina said something today. Like I was talking directly around. Let me connect. Let me go find out about that. Let me go a little bit more into that. Let me connect. And so we've moved the needle with
Right.
that one individual, and we've accomplished so much by taking that. We can accomplish so much if we continue to
Yeah.
take that approach.
Yeah. Talking about COVID now, let's track a little bit. How is the shots and the arm going for the veterans? What is the plan? What is there something special for veterans to making sure that they're getting the shot in the arms, or is there any pushback of them being nervous or not sure? Like, what is the state of the veterans and the vaccine?
Right. So I've not seen any pushback whatsoever from our veteran population. And for example, at the Veterans Home, we had over 98% of our veterans have been vaccinated at the Veterans Home. And that's a testament to the hard work to the team, but also to of our veteran population by and large as well. And so through the great work of the Providence VA Medical Center, for example, they offered a vaccine clinic for the family member and caregiver of the residents at the Veterans Home. And so that's amazing. They've been tip of the spear. We're leading the effort for all our veterans getting vaccinated, and also to incentivize that, hey, we have veterans that are getting vaccinated that are not enrolled in the VA healthcare system. Well, as you get your shot, go to this door, get your shot, and before you leave, go right next door when we will enroll you in the VA healthcare system. And so what this virus also done, we've seen an uptick in our veterans getting enrolled in the VA healthcare system. That's so critical because we know those veterans that have succumbed to suicide, the overwhelming majority of them were not enrolled in the VA healthcare system. And so that's one way by moving the needle is by making sure, ensuring, making the steps to what we want our veterans to get enrolled in the VA healthcare system. But in order, it doesn't stop there because once you get them in, you got to make sure we want them to they can be taken care of. And so the approval ratings for how we've learned from the back in Vietnam, now moves forward to today, and the federal VA experience have improved to roughly over 90% approval rating from our veteran population. That's tremendous because what it says is that I trust that when I get enrolled in the VA healthcare system, they're going to take me in. And granted, we have horror stories out there, but overwhelming majority, our veterans are getting well served by our federal VA partners. But here's why it's so important to have that collaboration between state and federal partners in that regard. So the state, we can advocate for the veteran to ensure to work together with our federal VA partners. As a result of that, the state participates in a quarterly veteran town hall meeting sponsored by our federal VA partners with the Providence VA Medical Center. We also have the regional benefits office there as well, along with my office, to be there, the triad, I call it, for all three of us there to participate in the town hall, to have resources on site, to actively listen to the veteran and military family, to enhance their experience, and to entertain questions from the family members as well. So it's a collaborative effort. And we make sure that the vaccinations are a high priority. And our Providence VA Medical Center has been so instrumental in getting the vaccination clinics. Matter of fact, they hosted a clinic. They went all the way down to URI to host a clinic.
All the way down. You're
all the way. Yes, that's what you got to say. You got to put it. Doesn't matter if you're right. You got to be able to use the phrase all the way. And so that was so nice for them to do that for our student population as well. So we want our veterans to get the vaccines. And we make it so accessible for them to get the vaccines and to include the family members. So another initiative said, not only are we going to vaccinate you as the veteran, we're also going to vaccinate your significant other, your loved one as well. But it's to the testament to the work of getting these vaccinations, but also to set an example for our veterans to also allow the spouse and the caregivers of the veteran to get vaccinated as well.
That's amazing. One quick question. I know that a lot of the regular population, they have a lot of trouble with transportation, with people who don't drive or are in wheelchairs or use a motorized vehicle. do they have special transportation for veterans that is reliable to get them to their doctor's appointments, to get them to a vaccine, no matter what their mobility device is that they use, or, do they have access?
Oh, absolutely. And so this was one of the first back in 2016. This was one of the first issues that we needed to address as an organization, because transportation was a concern. And through identifying resources in partnership with RIPTA to provide passes for our folks and connecting with services providers in partnership with EOHHS, utilizing the services that the state also provides to connect veterans to get them from point A to point B to get to their doctor's appointments as well. And so that was a tremendous partnership. So now as I look at the data on an annual basis, we have small issues with the ability for folks to get transportation to and from their doctor's appointments. And so again, there's a partnership that had to be done by getting the right folks in the room to identify what the true issues are, but also collaboratively work through ways that we can address those issues. And as a result of that work, transportation is not a major issue amongst our population, because the work we're doing together to address that issue head on. And we continue to partner with RIPTA through EOHHS as well to participate in their routine calls. They have quarterly calls as well to update us on what RIPTA is doing for the entire population, but also more importantly to work with them to address the needs of our veterans to make sure they have transportation as well.
Well,
and
me and you need to be in a
Jennifer.
Yeah.
And so Jennifer,
Me and you need to be
yeah,
me and you need to be in a room together so you can help me expand that, because my population, that is one of our biggest issues right now, is getting people transportation to a doctor's appointment on time, where they need to be, or to vaccinations. It's a real problem. So maybe me and you can, talk of how you're doing it right, so the rest of the state can follow along, because that's one of the biggest complaints that I get on a daily basis is transportation.
Right. And so with that said, so Jennifer, who's our women coordinator, she's also added transportation to her portfolio. So any transportation concerns and needs, we have a voice now. And so Jennifer stepped up to the plate as well to lead that effort also.
Well, tell Jennifer to give me a call so we can fix it for the rest of the state as well.
Sounds good.
As we're nearing the end of the hour, I want you to, number one, tell everybody where they can go to find all of these services. Is there a website? Is there an email that they email you at? Or what is the best way for everybody who's listening that has not connected with a service? How can they get connected?
We have an array of ways that a veteran or military family can connect with us. Our headquarters is centrally located, 560 Jefferson Boulevard, all the way in Warwick. It's on a RIPTA. It's on 2 RIPTA routes. It's also have plenty of free parking, wheelchair parking. We also have parking set aside for veterans. So in that regard as well, wheelchair accessible, elevators, and please, we're still adhering to COVID-19 restrictions, so those remain in place in that regard. But our phone number, 401-921-2119. Pick up the phone and dial us. We will return your call if no one answers right away. We have our state's website, vets.ri.gov. It's an informational website. If you stroll to the bottom of the page, it's a contact us link. You click that link, fill out the information. Several members of my staff are going to get that email. Within 24, 48 hours, depending on the request, someone's going to get a help back to touch with you. It could be in the form of an email response, or it may require for you to set up an appointment to come into our office to connect you with a service provider in that regard. If you're looking for a service provider, riserves.org. It's our referral network system that we connect a veteran military families with service providers in our network. They can be a self-referral, a friend can refer a friend, or a service provider can refer someone in our network as well. Those that are having suicide ideations, we have a national recognized federal hotline, 1-800-273-8255. We fixed that program now. So if somebody calls that number, somebody's going to be there to pick up the phone, to talk to that veteran, talk to that family member, to help guide them through this process, to help navigate life's journey together.
That is amazing. And if anybody didn't get any of that, just message me, and I have all of his contact information and all of these websites. Just contact me and I will make sure that you get the right services and the right website, and or in touch with Kazim. If you need to, I will get you the information that you need to get the services that you want. So never fail. If you didn't write any of that down or you didn't catch it, contact me and I will make sure that I get you the right services. And we will also be donating a whole bunch of our Red Bag initiative to you, Kazim, about carrying all of your medical information on you at all times. That's non-tech based. This is a great service. FEMA has picked it up now. So this went global. A little initiative that we had has now gone global about utilizing our little red bag. I have mine on me at all times, and it carries all of your meds. So we will be giving some of those to you for veterans, because for everyone who goes on our website to buy one, we don't make any money on them. We replenish them and we donate them to veterans, to senior citizens, to the homeless. So just go to www.rampisinclusion.com and grab yourself a red bag today. You will not be disappointed. You do not have to have a disability. You do not have anything wrong. My 21-year-old son carries one because he wants to be an organ donor, and this takes out all of the information. If you have a trigger, if you have a mental issue, the only ones who know are the EMTs and the doctors who take care of you. So I'm going to get you a bunch of those bags so you can hand them out, and then maybe we can work something out of making sure you always have enough to give out to your veterans, because I think it's something very important that they carry on them at all times. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time and sharing all of your wealth of knowledge with us today. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Tina, again, we love you more, and this mission is so important. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to join your platform, to join your mission, to have a voice, to be that advocate side by side with you in this journey. And who knows, we'll see you at the next Christmas tree lighting.
Absolutely. And like I said, if you ever need me, call me. If you need a resource or you need me just to talk to a veteran who's newly disabled or having trouble with, call me up and I will make the time to be available and to share my knowledge. We're stronger together. None of us can do this alone. We need each other. We all have our own little niche in the world. Let's make it happen. But I want to thank you so much for being on our show tonight. And it's like I said, it's always a pleasure. And I know as soon as I'm out and about, I will be seeing you soon.
Absolutely. And so now with that said, thank you for the opportunity. So my organization will be reaching out to you. So we want RAMP in our network as well, because guess what? If you come across a veteran, you have a systematic way to connect that veteran military families with a service provider in that network. So coming to you soon, RAMP. You're going to be joining our network.
Because I already have 3 people that I already want to hook up with you that I just met today. So, so that's where I'm going with that. So we'll be in touch. But I want to invite everybody back next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. to join us in our conversation. We'll be talking to CareLink, who does a whole bunch of resources throughout the state. So you're not going to want to miss our information about CareLink. And you definitely don't want to miss our July episodes with the governor, the lieutenant governor, our congressmen, our congressional leaders. We have a fun-filled pack next few weeks that we will be talking to every high-powered person in the state to make a difference. And we're going to be asking them the deep dive questions that you want to know, that they're really going to make a difference. We're going to hold them accountable, and they're amazing. And they already know that they're in for it because I've already won them. So they're ready. But thank you very much. And I appreciate it. And anything that you need, you can reach out and I will be there. Have a great night. And don't just sit there, everybody. Make a difference. Mwah.